It's time now for a leaf through the international papers here on Florence Van Cat. Florence joining us as ever. The debt crisis, of course, dominating the news and dominating the newspapers too.
Absolutely. Now, it's on the cover of the International Herald Tribune. There you see it. Rush to find a solution at the debt deadline. But a lot of papers went to press before this latest deal was made. So we're going to take a look at cartoons, actually. We're going to start off by a cartoon in the International Herald Tribune, which is actually quite critical of U.S. President Barack Obama. You see him there driving a car, which I guess we can guess is the U.S. economy, and it says that he looks like he didn't pay attention to warning signs. Caution, $14 trillion debt abyss. But he continues to drive his car as if there isn't a problem, and the only thing that's keeping the economy going seems to be taxes and spending. Now, we're going to take a look at another cartoon, this time in The Guardian, that's more supportive of Obama. It's called Bets Off. You see him in a room of, there he is, in a room of aggressive-looking pigs. I guess we could interpret that as the fat cats of Washington. They're all waving wads of cash. And he and his Republican counterpart, that I guess we could say is Boehner, have guns to each other's head. And there's a scary-looking man wearing a Tea Party T-shirt that says, "Sweet Lord Jesus, save the chosen billionaires from the evil Obama Nazi debt." So there you go, have it. Two cartoons from looking at the situation from two different points of view. Yeah, so there you have it. I think cartoons are the best way to keep
Exactly.
keep
always good to look at a satirical cartoon to sum it up. And speaking of the Tea Party you did there, there's an interesting take in the International Herald Tribune, isn't there?
Absolutely. It's a piece by Maureen Dowd called "The Tempest in a Tea Party." Now, of course, that's a play on words on the expression tempest in a teapot, which it means to make a great commotion over an unimportant matter. Now, she calls Washington a group of embarrassing leaders, and she says that the world is watching in a fearful fascination as the Tea Party drives a Thunderbird off a cliff with the president and the Speaker of the House strapped in the back. So she has no kind words for the Tea Party. In fact, she likens them to a bunch of college freshmen that are wreaking havoc, and she says that among this chilling anarchy, there's not a single strong leader, and including Obama, he'd rather follow than lead in the situation, according to Maureen Dowd. And she wonders if the Tea Party is playing a cruel joke on the American population, and she says that it seems that the people who think that the government is bad are good at governing, whereas the people who love the government are bad at governing.
Okay, first day of Ramadan today, of course. Guardian looking at what this means for the Arab Spring, particularly in Libya.
Absolutely. Now, according to this article, there's no prohibition of warfare according to Islam. And in fact, some of Islam's greatest conquests have occurred during this holy month of fasting and prayer. But according to this article in The Guardian, this is not going to be the case in Libya. According to this article, David Cameron and Nicolas Sarkozy are not the Prophet Muhammad. And this article points out that it's absolutely prohibited for Muslims to seek the help of non-believers against fellow Muslims. So according to this article in The Guardian, it would be probably a good idea for NATO to seek a negotiated deal to stop bombing and to find a peaceful settlement.
Now, the situation in Syria being covered, of course, in the international papers. This is one you pulled out to do with the crackdown in Hama, comparing it to the crackdown there in 1982.
Absolutely. It's an interesting editorial called "The New Hama Rules," and it's as you said, it looks back in 1982 when Bashar al-Assad's father, Hafez, what they say, murdered at least 10,000 of its own people in Hama. And now it looks at what's different today, and according to the article, what's making a big difference is camera phones. Now, as we've been seeing, there are no international journalists that are allowed to work in Syria. And since the beginning of the uprising, there's been a constant stream of images and video clips. And according to this article, this democratic form of media has cut through the regime's propaganda. And according to this article, nobody believes Bashar al-Assad because the camera phones are watching.
Yeah, very sensible. We've obviously used a lot of those pictures ourselves here on Florence Van Cat. All right, Florence, thank you very much. That's Florence Vilmelo with the international newspapers this morning.